Alright, this is like my third time trying to record this because I have legitimately forgotten how to do these quick reviews without having some form of notes in front of me. Because I haven't done these quick reviews in a while, mostly because there's been nothing to watch in the movie theater for quite some time. Thank you, COVID-19, couldn't have done it without you. So I think my last quick review was Sonic the frickin' Hedgehog. Would have done one for Tenet if I was in my area to do that, but that's all beside the point. I am doing the quick review now because yesterday I got to go to the movie theaters for the first time in nearly a year, and the movie I picked to watch was Demon Slayer the movie, Mugen Train, which I will probably heretofore refer to as either Mugen Train or Demon Slayer, probably alternatively. I'm not very good at keeping track with this kind of shit. So yeah, no, I'm really happy that the first movie I saw once everything opened up again was the Demon Slayer movie, partially because there was little else to watch, but mostly because I got really stuck into Demon Slayer over this second wave of pandemic. With Demon Slayer being on Netflix, it was a pretty obvious choice for me to get stuck into it, and it was the second anime I decided to watch almost entirely by myself, as opposed to watching it because the same person recommended it to me, as is the case with most of the anime I watch. So go me for broadening my horizons, I guess. The TV show is, of course, the story of Tanjiro Kameda. Kameda? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It is the story of Tanjiro and his quest to bring his sister Nezuko back from being a demon, because at the beginning of the show, his entire family was slaughtered by demons and his sister was turned into one who can still feel empathy for some reason. I'm sure they'll explain why at some point. Together, him with his sister and his friends Inosuke Hashibira and Zenitsu Agatsuma, they go around killing demons because they're demon slayers now. I've really been enjoying the Demon Slayer show. It's got a perfect blend of action, adventure, and sadness. This show is so fucking sad, you would not believe it. After its first season of 26 episodes, the next arc in the manga was done in movie form, in the form of Mugen Train. This movie follows Tanjiro and his friends as they get on the Mugen Train to find a demon who has been picking off demon slayers on the train. But along the way, they discover it goes much deeper than they thought, and they come across some of the nightmares. Let's get into what I actually thought of the movie. This bit was going to be as non-spoilery as possible. There will be spoilers later. So in terms of non-spoilery thoughts, I guess we'll start with the voice acting, because I want to get out of the way that I watched this movie in English dub, not the original Japanese with subtitles. There are many reasons for this, including the fact that it was showing at a better time for me, but also because I just prefer dub in general. You can all hate me for that, I don't care. And in general, the voice acting in the English dub for Demon Slayer has been pretty good, and this movie continues that trend of it being pretty good. Most of the characters from the TV show are much the same, which means that I love them all, except for possibly the voice acting for Zenitsu, because he's bloody annoying. But I also suspect that's the point, because he's a massive wuss. So I suspect that we're supposed to be mildly irritated by his wussy tendencies. So I'm willing to let it go because of that, but there are still one or two line readings from Zenitsu that make me just want to take my ears off. But aside from that, most of the voice acting in this movie is really, really good. The voice acting on Enmu, the dream demon, is also really good, because I like that he's got this sort of calmer voice than most, because it makes him just seem all that more in control and just a little bit scarier. So I do really like the direction that was taken in. So yeah, that's the voice acting. I think it was all pretty good. The animation, of course, is fantastic. The animation of Demon Slayer is routinely really good, like some of the best animation I've seen so far in the, 5 animes I've watched? The fight scenes especially. I mean, the fight scenes in this show just breathtaking every time, and the movie is no exception. The animation for their sword fighting techniques continues to be fantastic. The addition of Rengoku's flame technique also adds like a new thing to look at in the fight scenes, and that also looks fantastic. I just love the way that the flame techniques are animated. I continue to love the way that Tanjiro's water technique is animated. We also get to see a little bit more of Zenitsu's lightning technique, which also looks fantastic. Like, I love the way he moves in the animation of when he's moving, because, you know, he's fast as lightning, so I love the way they animate that. All this to say, the animation in this movie looks amazing, and the art style itself is also just fantastic and beautiful. And even if I thought that a lot of the plot sucked, I would probably continue to watch the show for the animation and art style. It's just that good. The music throughout this movie also continues to be great. The music that is attached to Demon Slayer has always been pretty good, but most of my thoughts go towards the music that plays through a lot of the fight scenes, because it just feels so cathartic, I guess. And the Lisa song that plays over the end, so sad, but I'll get more into that in spoilers. But I love that Lisa is basically the artist they've got writing all the songs for Demon Slayer, because I I mean, I don't know much of Lisa outside of Demon Slayer and Date Atashina Hiro from My Hero Academia, but I do love her voice. So the fact that she's done all of the Demon Slayer songs thus far makes me very, very happy. Also, I don't usually touch on sound mixes because it's not usually something that I particularly notice or care about. If a movie is well mixed, I'm not going to notice. But sitting in this theater just made me appreciate how much I love surround sound in theaters again, because the surround sound mix of this movie is really immersive. Like, I love the way that it sounds. Like, there are shots of like with a train passing over you can hear it around you. I mean, this might sound like basic stuff, but I guess I was just really hypersensitive to it because I haven't been in a theater for nearly a year. So you know what, getting to experience surround sound like that again just made me happy. And the Demon Slayer surround sound mix is extremely well done as well. So that was just a new level of immersion that just made me go, this movie rocks. All right, let's get onto spoilery thoughts because I've got a few of those. Enmu as a villain was really effective. As I mentioned earlier, his sort of calm voice added a lot to his character, but just like as a villain, he's still really effective, just like going by what he does in the film. Like, I love the idea of this creature that traps people in their dreams and then kills them while they don't even know it's happening. I like that as an idea, and I think it's executed really well here, and an interesting new twist of him like sending his minions into their dreams to destroy their spirits once they exit their dream. I found that whole thing very interesting, and there were definitely some interesting little side effects of that, like the fact that we see the dreamscapes of each of the characters, but I'll get into that in a minute. But back to Enmu. Yeah, I thought he was really effective as a villain and actually kind of terrifying. Like, some of the shit he does in the movie just, and also the fact that he had these people controlled by like tormenting them with nightmares and then promising them good dreams if they did as they were told. That's some up shit. Horrifying, but I love it as a villain thing. That was some good stuff, and I like the inventive approach to Enmu in that respect. But also on the note about their dreamscapes, I do also really love the dreamscapes that they found themselves in, because I found them revealing for the characters that we're dealing with. Like, I like that we find out through the dreamscapes that Zenitsu is an A-class simp, as if we didn't already know, and Inosuke's just kind of insane. I suspected that already, but I like the confirmation through the dream that Inosuke's just kind of insane. Most heartbreaking, of course, were Tanjiro's and Rengoku's dreamscapes, because of course Tanjiro got to live with his family again in his dream, you know, his dead family. Nezuko was noticeably absent for most of his dreamscape, which I found interesting, and also Rengoku's dreams were very sad, though there were definitely backstory drops, which really should have been a red flag for me, and I did actually pick it up for the death flag that it was, but I just hoped that it wasn't. I hoped in vain, but yeah, I really loved the dreamscapes, and I was particularly fascinated by how dark and twisted they became when Tanjiro actually started fighting them, because one thing that Enmu does as one of his special powers is when he's fighting someone, he'll put them to sleep in an eternal nightmare. Also, just on that, the fight scenes where he kept putting Tanjiro to sleep and Tanjiro just kept killing himself to wake up again. Horrifying, but also kind of metal of Tanjiro to just not even hesitate. I'm dreaming? Well, I have so much respect for Tanjiro because he was just like, no hesitation, just dropped himself and then woke up. I also appreciate that it was Nezuko who woke them up to begin with. I knew there had to be a reason why she didn't get put to sleep, aside from the fact that the minions were going to look in a box. But like, I love the fact that it was Nezuko who was able to wake them up, and the fact that it was the bond between Tanjiro and Nezuko that woke Tanjiro up. I cry for ages. The sibling relationship between Nezuko and Tanjiro just brings me to tears every time. It's so strong, and it's so beautiful, and it's so adorable. Speaking of crying for days, Rengoku. See, I thought they'd made it out of the movie fine, but then Akaza shows up, and when Akaza shows up, like, it says he's one of the upper three demons. When Akaza shows up, I knew someone was going to die, and I knew I wasn't going to like it. So watching Rengoku fight him to the death broke my heart into tiny pieces, because I hoped so much that he would survive, that he would somehow manage to survive that fight, but no, dude was dead. And his death scene just broke my heart into so many little pieces, because like, he's lying there dying, bleeding all over the place, but he still takes the time to tell Tanjiro that he has faith in him and has faith in his sister despite her being a demon. And then he sees his mother who died when he was a kid, and then he asks if he succeeded as a good person. Ugh. I will recover from that in 3 to 5 business days. And also the fact that the movie just ended on everyone crying, because like, I'd been having so much fun with the movie, and then it was just like, and now if your heart wasn't broken enough by Tanjiro's dream, let's just end the movie on everybody crying, including Inosuke, you know, the one who's like, LOL, y'all some sissies. He's crying too. Oh, the emotional damage. So yeah, I think those are my quick thoughts on Demon Slayer Mugen Train. My final word is, if you haven't seen this movie, go ahead and do so. If you haven't seen the TV show, watch the show and then watch the movie, because this is an absolute treat of animation that you are missing out on if you have not seen it yet. It is also incidentally the highest grossing film of 2020. Admittedly, it's not up against much because of, the pandemic, but I'm still really happy that this is the one that came out on top. So yeah, no, that's Demon Slayer Mugen Train, my quick review. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. But yeah, hopefully I'll get some more content at you that's a little more coherent. But in the meantime, bye!